I'm Patrick Byers, Horticulture Field Specialist with University of Missouri Extension. One of my favorite parts of gardening is saving seeds. I love the idea of saving seeds from year to year to year. And why not? It's a great way to save a bit of money on the cost of seed, but more importantly, it's a fantastic way to help preserve our gardening heritage. Cilantro or coriander is a good example of a garden vegetable where the seed is dry processed. The plant is allowed to mature, the seed is allowed to dry on the plant, and then the seed is gathered, the chaff is removed by winnowing, and then the seed is put up for storage. With dry processed vegetables such as coriander, where the seed is allowed to dry and then it's harvested, winnowed, and put up for storage, it's very important to harvest the seed at the right stage of maturity. This first bunch of cilantro, the seed is still green. It's not completely mature. If we were to harvest this, it would dry, but it's likely that the embryos within the seed would not be viable. Here is an example of a cilantro seed head where the seed is approaching maturity. This would be a good stage at which to harvest. The seed is beginning to dry down, but yet it's not dried to the point where it's shattered or lost from the seed head. This third bunch has gone too far. It's been allowed to dry too long on the plant. The seeds are beginning to shatter. We need to harvest this right away before any more seed is lost. With dry harvested seeds, sometimes the plants don't dry down uniformly. If we look at our bed of cilantro here, there are some plants that are ready to harvest, others that we need to leave for a bit longer so the seed can further mature and dry. So it's going to take several cuttings to gather as much seed as we need for next year's crop. So we'll come in and we'll notice the plants where the seed heads are beginning to dry down. Here's a good example here. Now we could come in and cut the seed heads individually, but oftentimes it's more efficient to just come in and cut the entire plant like this. And we'll gather together several of these that are mature. Oh, here's another one over here. Maybe that one's not quite ready. Here's one down here that is. Here's some down here that's ready. Here's a plant over here that has mature seed. Okay, so now we have a bunch of cilantro seed now that's ready to hang and dry. We'll bundle it together using a rubber band. I'll trim these stems off here. Okay, now we have a bundle of cilantro stems tied together. The seed heads have not advanced to the point where they're going to be shattered or lost, and so we'll hang this to dry in a bright, airy area, out of the sun, out of wind, and we'll keep an eye. If we do start to see some shattering, we may need to place a tray below it. But my experience with cilantro is that it generally clings pretty well as it dries down. We'll let it dry down till all the seed are completely brown, and it'll be ready then for the next step, which is to separate the seed from the stems and to winnow the seed. Several weeks have passed since we harvested our cilantro seed. We gathered the stems together and we hung the bunches of stems up to dry in a cool place that was very airy. The stems have dried down completely and the seed is now ready to separate from the stems. Part of the process of dry harvesting seeds is to separate the seeds from the stems. On a large scale, this can be done by placing entire stems in a paper bag and crushing the bag or otherwise agitating it so that seeds separate from the stems. On a smaller scale, this can be done by hand, which is what we're going to do today. We're just basically removing the seeds from the cilantro seed heads, and we'll work our way down through all of these seed heads, pulling the seed off. The seed is relatively clean, but we'll also do what's called winnowing, where we'll separate the seed from the remainder of the debris. Well, looks like we've got most of the seeds separated from the stems now. And as we can see here, the seed is pretty clean. There's still some stems mixed in, which will separate out through a process called winnowing. The process of winnowing uses natural air currents to move the lighter debris away from the heavier seed. Now, where are the air currents going to come from? Well, sometimes you're lucky and there's a light breeze outside and you can take advantage of natural air currents. But more often you'll want to create just the right level of air movement to move the debris off the seed. And that can be done by gently blowing with small quantities of seed using your breath, or it can be done using a fan, as we're going to do here. The first step is to place the unclean seeds into a deeper container. And we have the seed here ready to go. We can still pick out a little bit more of that debris by hand. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and turn on our fan here to generate an air current. Now, a little trial and error may be useful to help figure out where you should be relative to the air currents, because too strong of an air current, and you'll blow your seeds away. Too light of an air current, and the debris will stay with the seeds. But typically, the seeds are the heaviest part of the mixture, so let's see how this is going to work. Oh, it's working nicely. We can see how the wind current, the air current, is blowing the debris away from the seeds. And you want to let the seed fall from some height so that you have good exposure of the debris to the air currents. Okay, already we can see that our seed is cleaner. Now we'll repeat the process. And again, you can raise the seed up a little bit higher to expose the debris to more air movement to help move it away from the seeds. The seeds are even cleaner. We're getting closer to where we want to be. So let's go ahead and repeat again. We can see the seed is nearly clean. And let's do it one more time. Looks like we have one clump of debris here that we can pick out by hand. The seed's looking good. A few more small stems that we'll pull out. I think one more time should do it. All right, and here we have the clean seed ready to be packaged for storage. Well, we have our cleaned cilantro seed here now. The next step is to put it up for storage. And if properly handled, a seed can oftentimes last several years, but it has to be properly handled. So we've gone through a lot of effort to collect the plants. We've hanged them up to dry. We've separated the seed from the debris. We have the clean seed. What do we do next? Well, we're going to place the seed into airtight containers. We'll label those containers, and then we'll put them up into refrigerated storage. And here's the process. I like to pour my seeds over a cookie sheet or a container so that if I lose some seed, I can easily regather it. So we'll place the seed inside this small container. And a little bit more looks like will fit. Maybe just a little bit more. Okay, so now we have the seed inside the container, and we'll go ahead and put the airtight lid on. So there's the seed. Now the final step is to label the seed so we remember what it is and when we collected it. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Cilantro and 7/25/2020. And now here is our seed ready to be put up into storage.